Hello my friends, welcome back to another tutorial. I hope you're all keeping very well out there. This week on my channel I'm going to paint a beautiful sunset on the ocean with a lovely little sailboat. I think that would be quite nice. Something nice and warm and inviting, lots of colour. I'll show you how to create a nice simple sky using very basic techniques and just a few colours. You know, painting sunset skies, it can look very difficult, but you can simplify it and create very dramatic results. I have a palette here with some colours. I have a 16 by 12 canvas, portrait, and that's it. Let's crack on and have a bit of fun with this lovely sunset. I could do with some warm colours because it's been very cold and wintry and stormy the past couple of weeks. So I'm in the mood to paint something nice and bright and rich and colourful. Let's go. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. There is my palette. My colours are titanium white, burnt sienna, Naples yellow, cadmium red, magenta, phthalo blue and lamp black. They're my colours, nice warm colours today. My canvas, I put some masking tape across and I just gave the sky a very light coat of linseed oil, just with some tissue, just like this. Just helps the paint move around, I think. Right, here we go. You should see the reference photograph on your screen. Isn't that just wonderful? It's just such an eye-catching picture. The colours and the silhouette of that boat is absolutely fantastic. I have to say now, this is a real eye-catcher for me. I do like these types of paintings. So I'm going to try and recreate that using nice, simple, easy to follow techniques. Let's start with the sky. A nice light warm blue up there. So I'm going to just dampen my large brush very gently. Take some white, titanium white, some phthalo blue, mix plenty of that. Little touch of magenta. Magenta just warms the blue slightly for you. It really does. It gives you a beautiful warm colour. A bit more magenta. Let's get this blue now on the warm side, all right? The warm side of blue, the pinky side. A little bit more thinner, it's just a little bit, that's all. And let's have a look. Okay, I'm happy enough with that. Immediately you can see the linseed oil, it just creates that beautiful, soft feeling on the canvas. It's really, really soft. I love that, I really do. It's a good idea. If you don't have linseed oil, you can use liquid clear or something like that as well. Absolutely, it's fine. Bit more phthalo blue up here, look, just a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, now I want to go a little bit richer with this, so I'm just going to take a little bit more of each. A little bit of phthalo blue, a little bit of magenta. I just want it to be slightly richer in colour, that's all. Just up at the top corner, and it's kind of filters down then to a softer colour, doesn't it? So as we come down, now you notice I'm going at an angle. You see, I'm going up at a slight angle. That's because you can see the sky. All the clouds are coming down at an angle, aren't they? So that will help give us some direction. Let's take some magenta into that. Let me just make sure that my camera is on and recording. Yes, it is. It's looking very well. Now, I am just going to, again, make sure everything is okay on the camera. I am going to take more magenta as I come down. And I'm going to just warm it. You see what I mean? I'm now warming the sky as it comes down with more and more magenta. So as we keep coming, add more and more magenta, and it's getting slightly softer as well, you see. It's a little bit lighter in colour. Bit of white. I'm going to come down to about here, okay? That's where I'm going to bring these colours. Let's take some magenta, a bit more white into that. It gets pinky as it comes down. So again, let's just soften all of these together, make them nice and soft. You can go on an angle first, like this, to get the colours to merge together, and then go across them again. And that just brings all the colours together in one nice soft band of colour, doesn't it? I'll clean my brush. We have some very light colour in the middle there. I'm going to take some white and a hint of Naples yellow. And I'm going to put that colour in around the centre here. take a bit more. So you keep taking some as you need. Just keep adding to it as you feel you need to, okay? And again, we'll go up with that kind of an angle. So you can see now we have that nice light spot just in the centre. I'll take a bit more Naples yellow and a bit more white. And I'm going to pop some of that in. A bit more white, it's too yellow. A bit more white, just create that light spot just there. And leave it disappear off to the side. Alright, now we're going to start going into some oranges and pinky browns and all that kind of thing. So let's make sure the brush is really clean. You don't want any blue on your brush. Most of it anyway, okay? So try and get most of your blue out of your brush. If you want to switch brushes, you can by all means switch brushes. I'm first going to go into a nice deep, kind of a browny pink shade, alright? Let's get a nice deep browny pink shade. Let's take some magenta first, and then some burnt sienna. And then I'm going to take a little bit of white. I'm not going to copy exactly what I see now, alright? I don't want to copy it exactly. A bit more Naples yellow perhaps. Naples yellow, a little bit of magenta, a little bit of burnt sienna. What I want to do is just to gradually change the colour from blue to a pink. A bit more magenta. I'm going to rub some pink across where they meet, okay? And I want to soften them both together very gently, look. Bringing the top colour down and the bottom colour up, so to speak. I'm just going to dance around on the canvas. So at the end of the day, then we have this nice, again, a nice graduation from this bluey, mauvey shade into these oranges. Okay, you can see now what I mean. It's just nice and gradual. I don't want a very kind of a sharp line between the two, if that makes sense. But I'm going to take a little bit of a dark grey colour, just for some clouds up here. I'm going to take some Phaylo blue, tiny bit of magenta, and a tiny touch of black. So I'm going for like a pinky, grey sort of a shade, alright? Plenty of magenta. That gives you a lovely pinky grey. Now with that little shade, I'm going to go up here, let me have a look. Okay, that will do. I'm just going to kind of dance across the canvas like that, look. Just to give a couple of shadows on some clouds. Now that's fine. I'm going to wipe that brush, still with the same colour. I'm going to take a bit more magenta and a touch of burnt sienna in there. That will give us a sort of a browny shade. And I'm going to just put that brown, you see just there, we've bits of kind of a pinky browny kind of thing going on there. And we've another bit just here. Don't worry, all these will be softened in together with this soft blender brush in just a moment. I'm just going to get these in first, and then let's get a soft blender brush and let's soften these back out into the sky. Lovely soft sunset. That makes a big difference, doesn't it, the blender brush? And it's simply just a makeup brush, that's all it is. A nice cheap makeup brush. Alright, my friends? Let's continue. We'll keep going. I'm going to take a palette knife and I'm going to add some white to the clouds up there. Just simply a little bit of white on the corner of your palette knife like this, okay? Just a little bit. And it's underneath the shadow. So let's just drag these across like this. See? Just creating a little bit of light underneath the clouds up there. And it's that simple. Just a little bit of a flick with the knife on the edge. And it just gives you that little touch of light on the clouds. Now again, let's soften this back in with our soft brush. Just take the harshness out of some of those. Just, we don't want it too thick on the canvas. Look, nice and soft, just like that. There we go. I think that's fine. Moving on down to the warm colours. let's get this brush nice and clean and let's get some nice rich orangey colours on the canvas. Now when I'm doing sunsets like this, I normally use a nice deep pink first, before the transition, okay? So let's take some, well, a warm pink. Let's take some magenta and lots of Naples yellow, a touch of cadmium yellow. So we have a nice deep kind of a shade. What about a touch of cadmium red as well, look? So we have this nice sort of a salmon kind of a shade, that kind of a colour, the colour of a salmon, do you know that sort of a colour? And let's start going into more and more magenta. Take a bit more magenta. I'm kind of going my own now with this. I'm not kind of concentrating too much on the photograph. I'm doing my own kind of thing, all right? I'm now going to go into a nice rich browny orange shade. So a simple browny kind of an orange shade. Let's take some cadmium red, plenty of cadmium yellow, and then a hint of burnt sienna. Now, depending on the colour you want, if you want to kind of complement the rest of the painting, I would take a touch of magenta. A touch of magenta in that colour will just really make it pop. You see that? It just really pops, doesn't it? Let's put this just along the bottom like so first, and then we're going to ease it into the painting, into the centre on both sides. Again, let's try some sienna, some magenta. You could even just try those two colours. And again, bring it in from the sides and stop just when you get to the middle. More magenta, a little bit more on the pinky side. So as it comes up towards the blues, we're adding more pink into that mix. So more magenta and a tiny touch of burnt sienna for those. As it comes up like this, okay? And then let's just sort of create little clouds up there, like so. Don't worry, we will transition this much better because we have some clouds anyway in the painting. So this will transition a bit better in just a moment, okay? Now I'm going to stop at that for one moment and I'm going to start, I'm going to get a nice pinky shade first, some magenta, some white, little Naples yellow. Quick mix, and I'm going to just start merging those colours into the sky above it, into that bluey shade. You see what I mean? This is all, I would call it maybe an underpainting. It's just to transition from the top to the bottom, really, most of this. Now I'm going to go to a smaller brush and start putting in a bit more detailed work, yes? I take a smaller flat brush, something like this kind of a size. Let's take that brush, let's dampen it and dry it well, make sure there's no other colour on that brush. I'm going to start putting in a nice plum. Let's make a plum. Little bit of phthalo blue with magenta. There's more magenta in this, okay? And to tone that down, if you think that's a bit too kind of pinky, you could try a touch of cadmium red as well. That would tone the colour right down. Let's try that going over the sun. Now, I'm thinking it needs to be a bit warmer, doesn't it? A bit more cadmium red, perhaps. So it looks more of sort of a mauvey brown kind of a shade. And we're going to create a few clouds with this. You see what I mean? Just create a couple of nice clouds with this shade. Now as you get to the sun, towards the centre, let's make it a bit more red. Let's just keep adding more and more red to the mix. As you get to the centre, that gives you the lovely warm effect of the sun. And nice and gently does it. we'll put a couple more down underneath. I'll go for some Sienna with some red down the bottom here, and just drag that across, leave it disappear off. Same on the other side. Cadmium red, burn Sienna. And just kind of make it look like there's clouds going on here and there. That's what we want to try and do. Just make it look that there's clouds. Now, I see a beautiful mauve colour over there, a nice deep plum. Let's make a deep, deep plum for a cloud. Magenta, phthalo blue. And let's be careful now with this. If it's too blue, it's going to end up going a dirty greeny shade. So plenty of pink in this. So if you have plenty of pink or plenty of red in the mix, it won't mix with those browns too much. It will just give you this lovely kind of a mauve shade. And it won't get very sort of messy colour-wise. We could put that lovely kind of pinky mauve down along the bottom as well. Okay, we're getting somewhere now, aren't we? We're slowly getting there. I might use some of that shade and come up a little bit here. Maybe pop one in, just to balance the painting. What I mean by balance the painting is, I don't want too much going on just at the bottom of the sky. I want to bring some of those colours up, you see what I mean? I'd like to bring them up a little bit as well, into that sky. It just balances the painting a little bit better, I think. And I'm just simply getting very loose with my brush. You see what I mean? I'm not worried too much. I can soften all of these out with a soft blender brush later on, okay? So don't be too worried if you think it's overdone, or if you think you're putting too much in there. We can soften a lot of that away. Let's take our soft brush again now and just go over these. Follow the angle of the sky. See? Just follow the angle. And you can lean on this as hard or as little as you like until you're happy with the effect. Now, we'll soften these here as well. There we go. It's time for the sun. Take a small flat brush and let's put in a nice little sun. This is where all the yellows come into play now, all these lovely rich yellows, okay? No need to dampen your brush. Let's go right into some yellow, cadmium yellow, and a touch of cadmium red. I'm going to start with a rich orange, okay? I'm just going to pop a rich orange in just around some areas around the sun. And that will sort of prepare the canvas then for the whitey yellows that we have. Let's take some cadmium yellow now on its own. There's a little bit of cadmium red in this. Let's just go right into the middle with some cadmium yellow and start building up the area for the sun. So I generally start with a rich cadmium yellow, and then I go to a cadmium yellow with white. And then that really starts building up these layers, you see. Soften it outwards from the centre. Do it again. Soften it outwards from the centre, because if you come from the outside in, you're dragging all that paint inwards. So I always go from the centre out. You see? Just like that. And it's starting now to come to life. Let's get some more white in that yellow. So we're going brighter and brighter and brighter as time goes on. I'm going to start going over and catching some highlights on clouds, you see? Small little highlights. Just be nice and gentle with this, there's no rush. You can take your time with all of this. every now and again, make sure and clean the tip of your brush with your tissue. Make sure the tip of your brush is nice and clean for that colour. Now, let's just start putting in the nice bright centre. Even as it is, that looks fine, I think. You know, I could easily stop at that and just say, yeah, that's the sky done. But I'd like to just add a little bit more of that whitey, yellowy colour. I'm going to go up here and just kind of dance around on some of those clouds. Just let's make it look like it's bouncing off the clouds here and there. Bit more yellow, bit more white. And we'll do the same up around here, look. Just little bits. Bring a hint of more orange over to this side. So you see, as it comes over, it just gets more and more orangey, doesn't it? So a little bit of cadmium red, a little bit of cadmium yellow, and you can pop little bits of orange in, or even just a warm, deep yellow in here and there. Now already that looks absolutely fine, doesn't it? But I'm going to just keep going with my white. I'm going pure white now on its own, and I'm going to just put some pure white in the centre of all of this. I'm going to drag it out, like so. Clean the brush again, pick up more white, drag it out this way. Now, so this is the process. Just go along like this, adding little bits here and there. Now you can stop whenever you feel like you've enough done. If you're worried about making a mess or whatever, you can absolutely stop whenever you feel like stopping. You don't have to keep going like me. Sometimes I tend to overdo things a little bit, and that's not good sometimes. A little bit of white in the centre, look. Keep adding little bits of white until you feel you have enough. Just to create that glow right in the centre of the painting. And there we are. So I think that's part one finished. Firstly, just going to go along now with my soft brush and soften away some of these. Very gently, just grab them and pull them along. A little bit here. And I might just, as well as I'm here, cut in front of that sun with one or two small little clouds. So I'm going to take some cadmium red, brown sienna, and I might just go in here first on this cloud with that colour, just to warm it slightly, and then I might just cut in front of that sun with one or two. And that's just pushing that sun right back into the horizon. Okay? That's all it's doing. Push the sun back. There we are, my friends. The sky is finished. I'm going to call this part one finished, and I will be right back with part two. Do not go anywhere. Thank you so much for joining me.